Hi everybody, this is Osprey from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at some of the top stocks from today. Alright, so let's look at NIO. Alright, so a huge move for NIO today. This is the Chinese electric automobile maker. They're making the really cool cars, competes with Tesla on the style and the design, and I'm not sure about the quality, but they look very cool. And so yeah, this thing had pulled back and it bounced today. Closed up 22%. We had been stalking this pullback, waiting for a key technical development, and that did happen today. You've got RSI at 55, Fastos now above 20. Check out the bullish crossover there on ADX. Okay, so what we had been looking for was a close above the pink line here. That's EMA4, currently at 669. And that had been resistance since support broke right here on the 24th. Well, today that level broke, and that was our clue that it was heating up. Things were changing. It was a bullish change in trend, and so people in our chat were loading, down here in the sixes, and then early in the day everybody was on it, and then later in the day the news came out that there was a new investor had taken I think it was a 10 or 11% stake. The largest investor in Tesla is also now a large investor in NIO. That got this really running. It pushed up to 805 in after hours trading. It actually hit, I think, 840 was the high. So now what we're looking for is a break above the next key resistance level. Okay, so at 805, if it did open at that level, that would be a gap up open, and then the key level to break is going to be the closing price here on the 20th. Okay, the bottom of this black candle. If it can get above this 875 resistance zone, then you have this $10 zone, and then you have the all-time high close, which is up here on the 13th, which is just above 1150. Okay, right around 1150, 1160 or so, just above 1150 there. So these are the three big levels above. If it opens above $8, keep an eye on that 875 level. It's going to need to stay above that level. If it stays above, it could run to 10, and then if the bullish momentum continues, look for a retrace back up to this 1150 resistance zone in the all-time high close at 13. Notice how we were stalking the bounce here off of the IPO level. When it came down to this $5.50 to $6 level, over here when it bounced right off. That's when I had posted this chart, and this was the reload zone, and so people had multiple days in a row to load off of this IPO level, and so yeah, that just seemed like a logical place to re-enter. And then the good news came out today when the charts turned bullish. And so now let's look at the 15-minute chart. You can see here it had this big downtrend, and today it got above all the moving averages. This moving average up here is the 400 simple moving average at 714. You do have the upper Bollinger Band way down here and EMA4 at 684, and so it's always a risk of the candles working their way back into the bands. Right now the share price is up here around 805, so if it opened in this 805 range, what you're looking for is a break above this 850 level, and then you have the high close back here on the 20th, which is right around 930. Okay, so keep an eye on that level if it gets cooking to the upside, because that will be a big resistance level to break. Check out how the big volume poured in the last half hour of the day when the news came in about the new stake, and also keep in mind that we were loading down here in the sixes when it just broke above resistance. And another reason why we were loading is because it got above that middle Bollinger Band and the 50 and 100 simple moving average on the 15-minute chart, and that was the signal that it was bullish and in play. All right, let's look at PYX. Okay, so PYX here, so I wanted to show you, so I don't forget, first is the accumulation distribution and shaken money flow, and so you can look over here and see how there was a big spike down on both indicators, and so when a stock is, I think that it ended up closing down on the day, yeah, it closed up 4% on the day with the big volume spike. You expect to have an uptick on accumulation distribution and shaken money flow. When you have a big spike down, that's a signal of dilution, that they were selling shares, that there was some dumping going on into the rally. And today, what caught our attention were the volume parts. Notice how it's an increasing volume pattern. That big volume spike during a multi-day run, that looked like a climax spike to us. And so along with the black candle that was forming intraday, that was our signal to lock in gains. So alerts were put out in the chat around that $48 level, between 48 and 47, that this was, think about locking in gains, the black candles forming, and then look where it closed. It closed at 30, and then in after hours trading, it's at 38.74. So yeah, so it's $10 below where almost $10 below where the alert was put out that this was looking like it was going to work back into the bands. And also, if you read this chart right here, this was posted later in the day. It was looking like it was going to do a gap fill, and that's exactly what it did. The share price pulled all the way back to high of day yesterday, and so the gap between high of day yesterday and low of day today, that did fill. And so now what you wanted to see was it staying above the top or the bottom of the gap level, and at 38.74 that would put it below it. If it stays below the bottom of the gap, it's likely to work back into the bands, and it's likely to test EMA4 at 34.73. That would be the next support level below. The downside risk is there's an unfilled gap down here between high of day on Friday and low of day on Monday, and so a drop down here into this EMA 13 support zone, that would fill the gap. That's the downside risk, is a potential drop down to the 29s. Okay, if you look here at PYX on the 15-minute chart, you can see here how it topped out early in the morning and then it pulled back. The black candle to open the day, that was a red flag. You can notice the big volume spikes to start the day. That signaled people were locking in gains, and then you had the break below the middle Bollinger Band. When it came down here and hit this 50 simple moving average, it really needed to hold this level. That's at 41.20. Closing below that level was a red flag, and now it's at 38.74 after hours. Trading below the green line there, the 50 simple moving average on the 15-minute chart, that signals the bears are in control. If it remains resistant, you could see a drop down to the 100 simple moving average at 33.64, and on a big pullback, you could possibly see it come down here, test this 200 and 300-day simple moving average, and fill the gap down here to 29 between the 5th and the 8th. That's the downside risk. Now to the upside, if it broke above 41 and it got above that 50 simple moving average level, it needs to get back above the middle Bollinger Band at 45 to get a new uptrend going. Okay, let's look at AMD here. So AMD, this is another one that we had in the chat, and we had this yesterday, and so we were put out alerts in the chat yesterday to keep an eye out on AMD for a technical bounce off of the 50-day simple moving average. And yeah, come check out the premium chat and you'll see how this was all posted in real time yesterday. And what did it do today? It came right down and bounced right off of our target. And so just keep that in mind for future reference. When a stock breaks below the middle Bollinger Band, while it's been in an uptrend and it retraces to that 50-day simple moving average, many times you'll get a technical bounce off of that level. Now, right now, that is just a short cover rally. Okay, it's going to need to turn EMA4, the pink line currently at 27.44, into support to head higher to get a sustained reversal going. Right now, it's at 27.50 in after-hours trading, so that puts it above EMA4. That's what you're looking for tomorrow if you're a bull. You want to see that level turn into support. You're looking for a white candle and bullish reversal confirmation. If it closes back below EMA4, that would signal downside risk. You'd likely see that 50-day simple moving average tested. If it were to close below the 50-day simple moving average, that would be incredibly bearish, and you could possibly see it drop much lower. There's all sorts of unfilled gaps on the chart, and yeah, so it's very important that it holds this level and it breaks through EMA4. Today, notice the white candle is engulfing the previous red candle. Bullish engulfing reversal pattern formed. So this is a really strong reversal pattern. We'll be looking for bullish reversal confirmation. If you look here at the AMD 15-minute chart, you can see here it had been in a downtrend. You have the descending resistance, and then you had a descending support here, and it has this channel where it's bouncing off. And right now it needs to break through the top of the channel, which the descending resistance lines lined up with 27.50, and then you have the high close horizontal resistance from today, which is right below 27.70. If it can bust through those levels, then you have this 28.20 level, and then ultimately you're looking for a run back up to that 200 simple moving average at 28.58 currently. Notice how that's lining up with the resistance from the third. All right, let's look at OHGI. Closed up 65% today, so congrats everybody. Once again, I mean, I'm not even BSing you or anything here, but this was another play from our chat. I mean, I'm not even kidding. Come to the premium channel, come to the chat, come to the premium chat. I'll show you the charts. We had this yesterday. This is another one we had yesterday, everybody. If you're not in the chat, you're missing out. Yeah, this was a big winner. I mean, look at it, up 65%, and we were posting charts and technical analysis. Everybody had alerts. It's not just me. We have multiple people in the chat that are doing awesome reading the charts and you know, alerting people to good chart setups and good plays. And so OHGI is another one. It closed above the middle Bollinger Band last week. That that white candle above the dotted purple line. And that signaled that the chart was heating up. It pulled back below, and then on yesterday, on Monday, it closed back above that level. That was your clue. That was the signal that, okay, it looks like it's turning the 20 level into support. It's possibly starting a new uptrend. It needed to break above that 50-day simple moving average. Today there was a gap up open above that level. Notice the wicks on the candles had filled the gap, so there's not an unfilled gap below. That is good. Okay, it broke above descending resistance, and then it also ended up closing above the 100-day simple moving average at 383. That was the magic number. We were looking for a close above that level. If that level holds, then it can push higher. I would look for a run up here to around 54, 53, 54. That's where you have all this consolidation here in June. That is going to be a really tough level to break when tested. If it did break above, that would be super bullish, could possibly run back up into the 70s. But first things first, it has to stay above 38 and then break through this 53 to 55 resistance zone. But look at that volume spike today. Big volume behind the move. You know, if it drops, just so you know, if it drops below the 100-day simple moving average, that would signal consolidation. With today's candle pushing well above the upper Bollinger Band, the candles would likely work their way back into the bands, and the downside risk on a break below 38 and the 100-day simple moving average would be pulling back into the bands and testing EMA 4 at 28. That would be a 10-cent drop from the current level. Okay, thank you very much for viewing this video. If you'd like to learn more about charts and technical analysis, please come check out the premium chat. It's all about the premium chat. If you come into just the welcome area, you're not going to be able to see all the chat rooms and all the charts and all that kind of stuff. I have to give you access to that. So if you're putting in the effort to make it all the way to the chat, you might as well go across the end zone and score a touchdown and check out the premium chat and see what's happening. Okay, thanks a lot for viewing this video.